Hello and welcome to Angry Andy Reviews, and this is my review for The Flash. Now, this is a film that I honestly didn't really care about, to be quite honest. This whole elaborate change with the DC universe, the films, what's continuity anymore, doesn't even matter. Well, truth be told, it doesn't. However, I wanted to watch this film just to see, purely because you goddamn baited me, because obviously Michael Keaton's in the film. But I'm going to be frank about this film. I'm going to be very frank and to the point. This is another example of messy DC nonsense. I'm sorry. This film is disgusting in places. And I mean from a technical point. The CGI in this film is some of the worst I have absolutely ever seen, and it's compounded by what happens later on in the film. There are going to be some spoilers in this review because I don't think I can talk about the film without going into those spoilers. Suffice to say, the opening of the film was actually okay. We see Barry Allen in Star City, and he gets a call from Jeremy Irons, Alfred, saying, "Oh, we need you in Gotham. A hospital is collapsing. We need you to get over there." So he races across America. It's great. It's lovely, seeing a landscape in full speed, as Barry Allen's racing across North America to get there. It's wonderful. However, nobody runs like that. It looks ridiculous. You look like Phoebe from Friends when you're running. It's awful. It's rubbish. I'm sorry. It takes me out of the film immediately. Nobody runs like that. It's impossible. It doesn't work like that unless you're one of those speed walkers. Then that's how you run. But no, absolutely not. And then we go into this massive, elaborate sort of chase with Batman, and Wonder Woman pops up for a nonsense, pointless cameo because, hey, everybody's out of contract now. We've got to fill in them somewhere. And again, we're treated to some god-awful CGI as Barry races to save babies falling out the skies, and the cameos are ludicrous, and everything is ludicrous in this. It just looks terrible. And immediately, like I said, I was completely pulled away from this film. Immediately. The comedy doesn't work. It feels off. And I think, unfortunately, and this is one of the things that really concerned me about going into the film, was being able to separate the art from the person, from them. I'm sorry. I haven't been able to. There's too much in this film where Ezra Miller just comes through, and it's odd, it's jarring, and there's some questionable stuff in there from them. But there you go. I don't really want to go too much into that. That's another thing entirely. But suffice to say, it worried me going into this film. Yeah. Anyway, carrying on with the narrative of the film. So the film moves at quite a brisk pace. However, the first hour is pretty much of a bit of a slog. Barry Allen's back and forth about what he should be doing. He races through time. He goes back in time and fixes something that really he's been warned not to fix. Ben Affleck tells you, don't fucking fix it, and you go and fix it. So can't help you there. And it all goes wrong. He completely changes time, and he ends up in some alternate sort of timeline, which is wonderfully and beautifully explained by a fabulous Michael Keaton. And I really want to hone in on the positives of this film, because I do think there are positives here. And one of them is Michael Keaton. When he's Bruce Wayne, I think it's superb. I really do think it's superb, and I wish we could have seen a bit more of Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne, because he's inch perfect, as he always has been, as Bruce Wayne. You get those flecks of that bumbling nature here with him again, and it's honest, it's nuanced, but then you get the duff moments when he's in the suit and it doesn't quite feel right. It's CGI again. There's stunt people involved, and he says the lines from the trailer, which in actual fact, when you put them in the context of what's been said to him in order to initiate that line, it just doesn't make any sense. It's forced in. Stay away from that shit. Focus on what he's doing, which is, some interesting fucking interplay between him and Barry Allen. He's trying to explain, the very nature of the fucking universe, of time itself, and how you literally can't change anything. All you do is fuck it up for everybody else. And it's wonderful. It's a wonderful description about time travel and the fucking mayhem of time travel. But unfortunately, there's also a brilliant analogy for the rest of this fucking film in general. A hot mess. Well, again, moving on from Michael Keaton, it's wonderful to see him. A little bit too nostalgia-ridden, though. And yet we get another brilliant sort of character in Supergirl, Sasha Cale. But again, she's not given enough to do. Like Michael Keaton, not given enough to do. The emphasis, the power, the intensity from her is there. And yet we don't see enough of it. We're not given enough of it. It comes and goes. The ferocity of her character is there in spades. And yet we still get that glimmer of hope that Henry Cavill's Superman gave us. And yet it's taken away from us. What a shame. And speaking of Henry Cavill, the worst CGI nonsense cameo I have ever seen. But it gets better. But wait, there's more. So we get the Zod invasion. Obviously, they've somehow managed to go back like 10 years prior, and it's all fucking up. Zod is here, and unfortunately, they cannot do anything to stop him. Who would have thought? And it all goes pear-shaped. Everything goes wrong. People die. The universe dies, and Barry Allen's there with his other self. Yes, there's two of them, which is it's really difficult to deal with. The two Barrys playing against each other just doesn't work. The comedy between them doesn't work purely because it's Ezra Miller playing the same character, and it just doesn't work. The dialogue's not there. The quality of the writing is not there. It's messy. It's choppy. It's not funny in the slightest. The film does pick up in the second half when Zod comes in, when the action ramps up, when things get a bit dire and a bit intense. There are some genuine emotional punches in it, but nothing feels truly earned. It all seems to come and go relatively quickly, considering how long the fucking film is as well. It comes, nothing settles. We're dealt killer blows continuously, consecutively, and yet it feels weightless. Why? Because the Speed Force effects are fucking shite. They are shit. Barry, the other Barry from the timeline where our Barry has fallen into, is constantly trying to go back and forth, trying to stop what is happening, and he's just not listening. And yet, instead of being presented some really fucking brilliant, character sequences of failure and disaster, everything's CGI. It's all CGI. It's like, in fact, it's worse than CGI. It's Play-Doh models. It's like fucking Wallace and Gromit on screen. What the fuck are you doing? What is this mess? It's rubbish. It's disgusting. And then we're treated to the true abomination of this film. The needless, nostalgia-baiting cameos. And they're not even cameos because they're not real fucking people. They're, again, CGI models. It's like a fucking 2004 video game. This is how bad they are. CGI models of the classic Superman. I can't remember his name for the life of me. From like the 40s, 50s. Who unfortunately had, a really bad time with Superman. So it feels a bit, awful really showing him, to be quite honest, knowing the problems he had. And then which we're treated to a god-awful CGI model of Christopher Reeve and the woman that played Supergirl in the film in the 80s. God-awful. Is it 80s, 70s? I can't remember. God-awful models, CGI models. And then the piece de resistance is the fucking shittest CGI render of Nicolas Cage that I've ever seen. And while there was a small part of me that really, appreciated seeing this mythical lost version of Superman that we should have been given in the 90s. It's not worth it. It looks terrible. It's awful. It's rubbish. I don't get what they were trying to do. If you're going to do that, pay him, get him in the fucking suit, give us what we wanted the entire time. Don't put a fucking video game character in that looks worse than what you get on the fucking Injustice games on the fucking PS3. No! Don't! Rubbish. And unfortunately, like I said, the emotional impact, the emotional weight of this film is undercut by this rotten, tasteless, disappointing and jarring sequence of events. These effects that don't land. General Zod is there and yet he's not there. It's the most phoned in, and I don't think it's Michael Shannon's fault. I think he was just quite happy to be able to get some garden furniture with the small amount of pay he got. And he phones it in, and rightly so. I would too if I was him. Come back for Zod. Oh, why? What are we doing? Oh, we're doing an alternate timeline. Oh, really? Okay, fine, no problem. What do you want me to do? Just stand there and waffle a bit of jargon dialogue. Okay, no problem. Fucking pointless. Feora Ul's there as well. One of the interesting, Kryptonian villains from Man of Steel. Nothing. Given nothing to do. She just appears and fucks off. Weightless. Everything is weightless in this film. There is nothing of any poignancy or hard-earned hitting chaos. It's just mess on the screen. And given the impact that Flashpoint as a comic had on the DC comics in general, it's a fucking disaster. It's an absolute disaster. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of potential. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of talent, because people come and people go. Ben Affleck's there very briefly, and it's disappointing. It's sad almost that Ben Affleck is just going to meander away from this point. It's sad that Gal Gadot is just going to meander away from this point. It's sad that the Flash has done fuck all to justify being there. We don't see Ray Fisher. We don't see Henry Cavill. We get a god-awful, bollocks fucking post-credit scene with Aquaman, with Jason Momoa. Pointless. And then, oh God, I forgot. My God. Barry comes back to present time thinking that he's fixed everything. There's an interesting standoff with other Barry that's been flitting through time and is now old, ancient, riddled with God knows what else. And yet we see him come back to his own time. He thinks everything's been done. It's like the episode of The Simpsons. He comes back and goes, oh, where are the donuts? And then obviously they say, what's a donut? And he fucking loses his shit. And obviously the donuts fall from the sky. It's great. And we get like that in this. Everything looks normal. Everything looks fine. And he gets a phone call from Bruce, and there's a voice, and I knew. As soon as I heard the voice, I went, don't do it. Do not do it. Do not do it. Do not give us this obvious piece of nonsense, fan baiting, nostalgia baiting that you could possibly do. And yet they do. Bruce Wayne pulls up in a car, everybody's dead excited, Barry Allen's like there waiting to see Ben Affleck, and all of a sudden George Clooney's there. Yes, they've linked in, they've cameoed from the worst Batman film ever made. The Batman film that crucified the Batman franchise for nearly a decade. They've put a fucking cameo in there. Why? Because it's fucking nostalgia baiting. Fake nostalgia baiting. It's ludicrous. No one likes that fucking film. And if you do, you need your head screwed on. You fucking muppet. Awful. What an awful film. Rubbish. Disappointing. If that's the last we see of Michael Keaton's Batman, it wasn't worth it. And that's a shame. Because I think we need to see Batgirl just to see what else is in there. It cannot be as bad as this. It can't be as bad as this. And truthfully, maybe I'm being overly critical, overly harsh, but I'm fed up with nostalgia. I'm fed up with nostalgia overriding the writing. I'm fed up of nostalgia being the central crux of storytelling. No, it's wrong. It's not how you write a story. Write the story first, and if it fits, then factor in other elements. Without anything else, it's just mess on screen, and that's what was here. Pointless stuff to get fake applause in the cinema. That's all it is. That's all cameos have become now. Fake applause. Oh, Christopher Reeve, that's lovely, that. I don't even know why they didn't just use already gathered footage from Christopher Reeve. He played Superman 4 fucking times, for Christ's sake. Can you not utilise what you have and reposition it, repurpose it? Is the technology not there better to do that? To cut him out of the film or put him on a different backdrop? Is that not better than a CGI render? Fuck off, film, you piece of shit. Rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. Now, I'm probably going to be generous with the score here, and I realise I've rambled on for quite a long time, and this has probably been completely inconsistent. It's been a mess, probably, just like the film. And it's a shame. Like I said, there are good things in this film, but I'm fed up with shit CGI. I'm fed up with dog shit writing. I'm fed up of fucking nostalgia. I don't need it. If I want nostalgia, I'll go upstairs and play with my fucking Star Wars toys, thank you very much. I don't fucking need it. I'm going to settle on a 4 out of 10. I really am. And a lot of that is because of Michael Keaton and his honest, earnest performance as Bruce Wayne. And some actual genuine touching moments, you know, when he's in the suit. It's a little bit tad unbelievable at times, but there are some genuine effective moments. The score, a little bit too on the nose. Some of the visuals, a little bit too on the nose. Nostalgia again. You know, but it is what it is. That's how they roll these days. Sasha Cale, Supergirl, really good. I liked seeing Michael Shannon, even though he's phoned it in massively. And there are, like I said, some good emotional impacting moments, but the rest of the film is a nothing burger. A waste. And the proof is in the pudding. This film is flopping. It ain't amassing no fucking money. DCU, good luck to you. Good luck to you. You're going to need everything you can fucking get. But there you go. 4 out of 10. This has been a really long review. I don't regret it one bit. Nonsense. 4 out of 10. Bye-bye.